faut bouger. C'est chic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 Division 2 Open and Women's Ultimate Championships here in beautiful Ōtautahi, Christchurch. We are at Bruce Dean's Field. Bob Dean's Field. Honestly, it's been a little while. I'm so glad to be back, and I am joined, as always, by the inimitable Kelsey Bielik here in the commentary booth.
Oh, shucks. Kia ora.
So my name, as always, is Blair Munro. Some have referred to me as the voice of New Zealand Ultimate, but it is a pleasure to be here, to be your eyes and ears on the ground, to provide context and commentary for the opening match in our Open Division. Blue Skies from Nelson facing off against Exiles from Christchurch. Now, just before we came live, Kelsey, you were telling me a little bit about the history, or I guess perhaps the very recent history of some of these Nelson Ultimate players. They've had a recent beach tournament flat out earlier on in the year in the sort of summer season. And you were mentioning a couple of names that we're seeing on this roster who had some fantastic performance at that tournament. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that, Blair. Really excited to be here and excited to see these matchups as well. So we've got Exiles hailing from Christchurch. They're in red. They should be on the right side of your screen against Blue Skies from Nelson. They're in blue. And as Blair was just saying, these players from Blue Sky, a lot of them on this team have just represented and did really well at the annual Nelson Beach Hat Flat Out tournament. A few of them led by Ira Dudley Besto, won the tournament, actually won the beach tournament. He won MSP as well. So excited to see not just strong skills on display here on the field, but also a well-spirited game, hopefully.
Now, Kelsey, what was your involvement at Flat Out this year?
Oh, well, Blair, I was honored to play with a few of these players. Ira, we had Emery Crane, as well as Ari Stern, who were on the winning team, and I was lucky to join them as well to take the gold, cinch the gold. But we've got the poll coming down, and Exiles are on offense.
And so we're seeing some aggressive match defense at the moment from Blue Skies. Exiles put up a nice line drive to the far sideline, but it's not going to come away. Number 9 for Exiles. Unable to pull that one down. That's Callum Doak. Not Callum Doak, I believe. Sorry, my mistake. We'll get some clarification about that relatively shortly. We're going to see Blue Skies pick up its Dudley Besto with the disc to initiate.
And just a brief commentary right now, a beautiful inside out and strong person defense there for the turnover. Just a commentary on conditions right now. We had heavy rain last night in Christchurch and the ground is quite wet. It's a warm day, as you can see the sun's coming up. It's chilly, it'll be warming up, but for the moment, wouldn't be surprised to see some slippery disc.
Some great work by Sturman to cornerstone and really establish that red zone offense for Exiles, but a quick touch by Joe Knight is going to generate a turnover and give Blue Skies the opportunity to go back. What a great run through. It's probably because he wasn't weighed down by the excess material from having no sleeves. A big hammer fake, gets a bite out of Trent Gurdon. The swing comes wide.
We're seeing really tight defense from both teams. So that's two-person just hand turnovers, really tight matchups. And we can see here contesting every throw. Exiles are strong off the mark, and throwing error leads to a turn.
And so it's going to be McAfee.
Both teams running a vertical stack right now. McAfee easily making yards, finding that open space, threading the needle, putting Exiles on the board for the first points.
Great score there by Exiles. It has been said that blood alone moves the wheels of history, and first blood is going to go to Exiles from Christchurch, playing out of the red corner, to borrow parlance from boxing terminology. A beautiful rapier-like thrust, a few parries back and forth. But it's great to see that early point, to see the kind of level of ultimate that we're going to be playing. I think defense is going to be the key here. We saw quite a lot of turnovers generated from aggressive attacking on defense, which is awesome to see, and it's really going to set the tone for the tournament. And
we talked a little bit, well, we talked a little bit about Nelson as a team, and quite a few of these players, I mean, aside from obviously training in the same space, they've come off of a win at the Nelson Beach Hat, which is a really exciting, really fun tournament they put on, and they're riding that high, but just focusing on Exiles, they're a long tenured team in Christchurch. They've sat for a long time as a counterpart to the Credo Club, which will be playing at Div 1, but Exiles has done a really great job in the community as a separate club. I think they provide a really, really great counterpart. They're really well established and balance out a lot of the Frisbee played in Christchurch. It's really exciting to see them still playing out here on the field. But yeah, just a long tenured club in Christchurch as well.
Now despite their long tenure, we haven't actually seen Exiles at a New Zealand Ultimate Championships event in the last few years. Bit of a shake-up. Sometimes it can be hard to pull in those numbers, but there are sort of some pretty well-known names throughout Canterbury Ultimate, Christchurch Ultimate, who are going to be involved in the establishment of a team like this. It really helps to let that culture sort of permeate despite those potential breaks. So it's a great breakthrough there. Finds Sam Mercer on the near sideline.
And that's something I'm going to expect to see from Crane. He's got the disc right now. He's such a strong handler, such safe hands back in that space.
Hippolyte pushes to the far sideline. Finds Wenzel.
Right now, Blue Sky's doing a really great job. Crane just reeling the disc in, but really great job of swinging the field. While there's cuts coming out of the vertical stack, we're seeing almost 3 handlers back as they're doing a really great job of spreading the field. What a catch!
A fantastic, a layout almost in slow motion. Oh, the great attempt there, but that's one of those catch your D's moments. Great work by Blue Skies to answer with a point of their own. Certainly bringing the energy, the enthusiasm. We're going to get to see that again with a slow motion layout, even in slow motion.
Hippolyte, he represented Aotearoa New Zealand on the world stage. He's done many times, and he's just showing he's still got it there. He's keeping the disc alive.
Great awareness by Jesse Chase to pull that one up off the defensive mat, looking for Mercer for the score to tie the game up.
Great points of Blue Skies. Blue Skies in Nelson, Blue Skies in Christchurch. Again, sun's out, so as I mentioned, the disc might be a little bit damp. We had a lot of rain last night. Fortunately, the storm blew through, so we're expecting good weather throughout the course of the day today. But yeah, starting out really chilly. It was 3 degrees when I woke up this morning. So yeah, as Blair mentioned earlier, potentially, like players zooming along catching the disc without the weight of their sleeves. But we have seen little puffs of breath just with the chilliness in the air. And again, as there's dew on the grass, the disc is a little bit damp, so maybe also to blame for a few of the turnovers that we saw in the first point, as teams are still getting a feel of a slippery disc and grabbing it into their hands.
Big forehand pull from Blue Skies as they come out on defense, but as you say, Kelsey, it was frozen when the ULTI.TV crew got here this morning. We were crunching our way through the frozen dew. It seems to have thawed out a little bit, possibly due to the heat and energy that these players are bringing. It's Exiles on offense now. Sean Lemon on the far sideline.
And one thing I'm really enjoying out of Exiles' offense here, the disc goes up. Launched too far.
Great layout opportunity there, but the defensive coverage might have been just enough to discourage it. It's going to give the disc back to Blue Skies.
One thing I was appreciating there was Exiles were doing a really great job of cutting out of the stack, giving multiple options. The deep look that we saw there, as well as multiple unders. Blue Skies, as I've mentioned, coming in a vertical stack of their own. They've done such a great job of swinging the disc in the handler space. Can they maintain that? Yeah,
so just to clarify as well, for those watching at home, we're talking about a vertical stack at the moment. So the way that Blue Skies have set themselves up, they're trying to create large, wide channels on the near and far sideline to allow their players to cut into and to attack. We have Styles with the disc at the moment on that near sideline. Some really great defense there by Exiles in that previous a couple of throws ago. They were really managing to pressure a lot of those cuts from that vertical stack. So we saw those handlers having to play a little bit versatile. Great layout grab.
I just want to comment there. Dudley Besto really running the offense there. He's supported by such an athletic team. We're seeing some really speedy cuts. The great awareness there. The layout to reel the disc in, to keep it alive. But Besto, Dudley Besto, he's such a multi-tool of a player. We can see him down in the deep space scoring those points as well as launching. He did it once and he did it twice to score the point there with those beautiful forehand mid-range hucks.
Great work by Pang to lay out for that one. And it's, again, what it comes down to and what we're seeing really from Blue Skies is just a huge amount of awareness on offense, recognizing that a disc is live until it touches the ground, and it's catchable until it touches the ground. So even if it pops through the hands, there's someone there to provide backup. A lot of Japanese Ultimate actually structures itself around that, particularly in a vertical sack. You'll often see two cuts moving to the same side of the field for the same disc to prepare themselves that if the disc gets overthrown or underthrown, someone's going to be there underneath it. So it's really good to see Max Pang just having that heads-up awareness, being willing to commit his body to the layout for that one. And great work by Sean Lemon to just stand a little bit in the way of that replay. So Max isn't going to be able to go home and just have a bit of a blast balling out on that replay.
I really enjoy about that. He was wearing a jersey before that showed he'd done the Queenstown Marathon, just showing a display of fast twitch and slow twitch muscles there. He can smash out a marathon. He can lay out on a dime. Great point. Exiles with the disc.
Vrach.
What a pivot. Just moving his mark around.
Great little chip work up the field to find McAfee with a big cross-field shot. Who's he looking for?
Big boss field shot. Great points. And McAfee, he's such a tenured player. He's got so much experience. And one thing, I love to watch him play. I love to see his calmness around the disc. And I think he really emulates that also with his team as a leader in the Christchurch Ultimate Frisbee community. He's done such a great job of cultivating this space around him, bringing up players, growing the sports, and we can see him giving advice on the line as well. But I love to see it, off the field. He's giving that calm advice, leading the team, but on the field as well. We saw that inside out. I'm happy he didn't put it up, but I would have been stoked if he did, and opted for the around backhand. He's such a calm and strong presence on the field. A great assist to a great point.
Great work. And I mean, great defensive effort by Emery Crane. I think maybe overcommitted to that far side a little bit, turned underneath the disc, wasn't really in a great position to make a play. But that's just what happens when you've got a handler like McAfee in the backfield looking for those opportunities, kind of recognizing where the offense is trying to develop that space and just trusting himself to be able to put a disc out into it for his teammates. So we're going to see Exiles come out on defense now.
We're off to a really, really exciting first match of the tournament, folks. We've got the score tied. Can you ask her anything else? It's a strong start to the game. Both teams are trading scores. They're really well matched up. Exiles showing a lot of poise and calmness on offense. Meanwhile, Blue Skies have just been everywhere, as Blair was discussing before, backing up the disc, just providing opportunities. And we've seen really tight defense from both teams. What can Blue Skies do now to make that difference, to score another point? Multiple cuts coming out of the stack.
And that's what we see. So Hippolyte managing to go around, finding Wenzel. Back to Hippolyte, pressuring that near sideline. A little fake through to Emery Crane from Stern.
Cheeky lefty backhand.
You do, in fact, love to see it. Jesse Chase back to Hippolyte center field. That same vertical stack. Emery Crane looking to make a crossfield slash cut across the front of the disc. Oh! Big left backhand. He's putting it up for Stern. Can he pull it down? Yes, he can.
That was beautiful.
Oh, that was honestly a phenomenal play. Just great work by Emery Crane to find that space. I mean, you talked before about his work rate, the poise and just the precision that he does in terms of just getting really stuck in involved with the offense. But that sort of cut to our break side, our far sideline, and then immediately turning that into a nice cut towards that near sideline right in front of the disc, leaving his defender a little bit on the back foot, getting the disc wide open, great space, using that powerful left backhand to just send a drive out in front of his receiver when he already had 2 or 3 steps on his defender. That was just fantastic effort there as Blue Skies take the lead.
Blair, You know, I think we've got the house of Blue Skies here. We've got the house of this Opens team from Nelson, and you know they're all flatmates together. But they don't need a cleaning roster because they've shown how clean this house is. There's no need for any bleach. That was just such a beautiful, clean offense. A crisp throw, crisp catch, and also I just want to comment on Hippolyte in the backspace there, as well as Crane with the beautiful assist. But Hippolyte, he's really committed to catching in the breadbasket. He's not afraid to put his body on the line, but I really appreciate sometimes when you're scooping down or jumping up to catch the disc, when it's outside of that center space next to your tummy and your chest, it's much safer to catch the disc there. And he's laying his body on the line just to ensure that he's going to make a safe catch, and he's going to keep it in his hands, not willing to give it over to chance with the dew and the wet disc on the ground. We've got Exiles on offense.
So with that pull going out of bounds on the full, it's taken to the brick mark, a point about halfway in the middle of the field, 18 meters in front of the end zone. Some great line work, but it's going to be Loy with a touch as Exiles try their best to drive it up that near sideline. Not quite able to make that connection, putting a little bit too much float on that disc.
Giving Blue Skies an opportunity on offense. We've got Mincher with the disc, and Mincher also, he was in the semifinals. Oh, sorry, he was in the finals as well in the Nelson Beach hat. A really close finish between both teams. Came down to the last moment, and he was such a strong force for the team that ended up placing second. But really great to see. No doubt he's stoked to play with those players that came in first as well on the same line.
So Pang with the disc now. Great fake, getting a shift out of the defense. Comes back around to Mincher. We've got Loy on an undercut. He's looking to try and make that same slash cut that we saw from Emery Crane before, but he's bailed out in favor of a great line push to Dudley Besto, putting a long shot up. Read beautifully by Max Pang, who is going to put his second point of the game on the board already as Blue Skies go up 4 over Exiles 2.
With an assist from Dudley Besto. So this is a connection that we saw before, we've seen again, and I'm going to put my money, Blair, on us potentially seeing it again. Not potentially, I think we will see it again. He's Dudley Besto with those crisp forehands, and Pang just showing his speed, agility, and explosiveness, athleticism in that deep space to reel in whatever's coming his way.
It was just a fantastic, I mean, the amount of space that Pang had on that cut was just fantastic. I mean, even I, as a solid C- tier thrower, probably would have put something up if I saw a receiver with as much separation and athleticism as Max Pang has. So
this is something also that I would like Exiles to recognize. So Exiles has been doing a really good job. I've loved over the course of this game their tight man defense, their person match. But they need to recognize that if that's the second time they've scored that point. Good to recognize that Pang in the deep space and Dudley Besto with the disc is a risk
threat,
for a point.
A huge threat, yeah. So the pull goes down, a little bit of a fumble as they try and pick it up. We've got McAfee with the disc. Far sideline, puts it up.
Out.
Great takedown to a wide open Trent Gurdon for the score, bringing it back to a 1-point game. Exiles to come out on defense now, hoping for an aggressive pressure. And as you said, Kelsey, so far, while they're sticking to a strict person or match defense, there are a couple of players on this Blue Skies team who are able to have those connections. They're able to get that separation. They need to be respected as the threats that they are, and so it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, Exiles choose to do in order to respond to that. They recognize they're coming out on defense now. If they stick to that match defense, Max Pang is going to have an opportunity to really push that and go for the hat trick.
That's great. Also, the follow-up here, Blair, we've talked about with Exiles, Blue Skies following up the throws here. Exiles showing that as well, that when the disc is coming down, first also that inside-out huck. He launches that inside space on it. Also, Exiles taking to the skies, showing that they own as much of the sky as Blue Skies do. But following up the disc there, saying that he was the backup in case it wasn't caught in the end zone, that there was that backup there to score the point. He was there for the continuation.
So yeah, just to reiterate that, if you're watching at home and you're trying to think, what can I do to improve as an offensive player? How can I be more beneficial to my team? Do exactly what Trent Gurdon did on that play. He saw the disc going up, he saw one of his teammates was up underneath it, and he continued his cut into the end zone just in case. that sort of team mentality. It's not about, oh, I've got to get every single disc. It's I've got to set myself up for my team. And so we've got Dudley Bestow again receiving the disc from Crane on the far sideline, marked by McAfee. Big looking to fake around to try and get a line drive.
Dudley Bestow opting for the deep puck. Oh! Exiles taking to the skies again. But that classic Hippolyte, Crane, two people back. Dudley Bestow looking to repeat that forehand huck downfield, but it's defended. We've got Exiles with the disc now in the safe hands of McAfee, looking for the strike.
Lemon with the flat, long backhand.
Can he get there? Can he get there?
Not, well, I mean, we may never know.
We may never know.
We may never know. A great long shot, beautiful line drive. I think it's one of those things where, considering the height and angle that came in, it might have been a little bit hard for the Exiles receiver to get a good read on that early and put himself in position. So
it's floating though. And if you ever want to lay out, he's calculated there. And why throw your body on the line if you're not going to reel it in? Nonetheless, if you do have those extra yards, if you're closer to the disc, that's the type of throw that you want to be laying out on. Just perfect, flat, hands out in front, like you're holding a dinner plate, and
all you have to do is fall. All you have to do is fall.
Yeah. Nonetheless, great decision. I mean, important to, especially in the first game of the tournament. If you know you're not going to catch it, then why put your body on the line? We've got a
Crane
responding
looking
huck.
for Mercer.
Oh!
Denied.
Oh. Good that it's clean. Good that it's clean. It looks like there may have been a bit of contact.
An emphatic denial. I haven't seen a denial so succinct since the last time a Redditor tried to ask someone out. Cunningham with the disc, putting up a huge backhand.
What?
Looking for Gurdon. A second score of the game for Gurdon to tie it up. It is 4-4.
And so that's Cunningham with I love this, repeating the exact same backhand that we saw McAfee put up earlier. That cross field. And I'm not sure if that was the open or break side, but nonetheless, they're looking down the line and then seeing that cross-field huck. It's such a beautiful connection. And I love that they're showing depth on the team, that multiple players are recognizing that space and putting that up.
So that looks like that was a great, it was a break side huck. So really good to see as well. Just that awareness to use the fakes. And it's one of those, I guess to sort of follow on from that, when you demonstrate that you have the throws, you become a greater threat in the defender's mind. If you have shown that you'll put a hammer up from midfield and it comes off, the next time someone marks you and you fake that hammer, they think, well, I know he's made it before, he can probably make it again, I have to respect it. And it's using that knowledge. It's establishing a portfolio of success for yourself in the context of a game to force the defense to take that extra second and respect what you're showing them, which allows you to create opportunities like that one there where he pulled the defender all the way to the open side, flashed him across, creating that little channel that he used for that beautiful break side shot to the far corner.
And just like we saw before with the Dudley Bestow Pong connection with Blue Skies, this is something that I would like Blue Skies to recognize that Exiles is putting out again and again, that if they give them that break side crossfield huck, they're going to take it and score. We've got Blue Skies on offense now. Hippolyte with the disc.
Finds Mercer, far sideline, marked by Cunningham. Back to Hippolyte, looking for Crane. A near attempt by McAfee to shut that one down. It's not quite going to be enough. Great left hand to the near sideline. Finds Chase. Back to Hippolyte. He's really anchoring a lot of that. It's one of those
Ray
things.
on the mark. Sorry, that's Ray on the mark.
That's right.
Go ahead, Blair.
Might not be as dynamic as some of these other players. Oh, you know what? I take it back. He is just as dynamic as these other players. It's one of those really good things where you've got a player who is moving intentionally and deliberately to really drive the offense.
We've got Exiles with some really hard shutdown defense. The stack is looking really stagnant, and for me right now, that's indicative of players just really struggling to get open. Sometimes you have to make a cut, even if you're covered, just to open up space and make some movement. But things have opened up a bit more now, but we're seeing cutters downfield for Blue Skies. There's a lot of stagnance. There's not many options coming out.
Crane with the huge scuba. Why not?
Why do you need options when you have throws like that? Why should anyone cut if you can put it wherever you want on the field?
And the score is now 5-4 in favor of Blue Skies after a great scuba from Emery Crane to sail over the top of the Exiles defender and find the hands of one of his teammates. We are now only a couple of points away from our halftime. This is a game to 13. So based on the number of participants in the open division and in the women's division, our games are to 13 points or 75 minutes.
We're seeing it one more time there, Blair, and this is the first game of the tournament of Division 2. We've got Division 1 coming up next weekend, but I'm going to go out on a limb, Blair, and say that might be the only time we see a throw like that in the Nationals this year. That's just such a beautiful execution, such a unique throw. It's just a privilege to see something like that put out, and very rare to see executed so well.
It absolutely is, and I think my favorite thing about you making a declaration like that is my mind is now reeling at the number of players who are going to hear that as a challenge.
Please prove me wrong.
Yeah, I can anticipate Kieran Monsell for Hamilton Tafi Mate, who we're going to see in Wellington next week. He's probably going to be practicing those for the next few days.
Cross fields, break side. Anyway, we've got Exiles on offense. Some great give-go handler movement. Back to McAfee. He's just running the offense, launching it downfield. The fans are cheering from the sideline.
Less blue skies and more blue skied as Exiles come down with it to tie up the game. We are 5-5. One thing that I do want to draw attention to was the fantastic initial defense that we were seeing before McAfee fired off that rocket. Mincher in particular for Blue Skies was doing a really, really great job. He was cutting off the lane of the throw before recognizing when his player was going to become a threat. So on the chase down for that disc, saw that a couple of those Exiles handlers were really working with each other to try and eat up yards early, and nearly made a play at the lane between those two players before recognizing that he had to commit to his assignment as a player, which is fantastic. So we're going to see a timeout called now. Not sure which of those two teams called that.
An interesting call. So we're getting close to half. As Blair just mentioned, it's a game to 13, so we're going to see half at 7. I think right now both teams are probably discussing how to get to 7. You know, you want to earn that first half. You want to get on the board and take half. It's such a strategic place to be going into the second half when you're ahead. So no doubt they're discussing right now it's a game to 2. How can they get there?
So we will be back to talk about what kind of adjustments these teams are making after we take this short ad.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it.
You can't relive your history if you don't know it, folks. Get in touch.
It wasn't.
So we're seeing that point one more time. And interesting also to comment on both teams. So Blue Skies, we've got Pong in the deep space. So much athleticism. We've got Dudley Besto. A lot of legs on this team. We've got Hippolyte, who's been constantly throwing his body on the line to keep the disc alive. And a lot of athleticism there. But I do want to comment on Exiles. They're a really tall team. And we're seeing that when these matchups are happening, when it's a sky ball, that is when the disc is up in the air, Exiles more often than not seems to be coming down with it or coming down with a defensive play. Just an interesting assessment. So this could also inform strategy, and that Exiles could maybe be looking for more of those high shots. If you see a tall player, a mismatch deep, Exiles could potentially be looking at throwing it high, knowing that they have that height advantage. Meanwhile, Blue Skies could be looking at throwing into space more, trusting the athleticism, the ability and trust that their players will lay out, get to that space in time. Just potentially different strategies that teams might be taking, but also good to recognize for Blue Skies that in these height matchups, Exiles have been skying the Blue Skies more often than not.
And to follow on from that again, Kelsey, as you point out, it's that recognition that, are we going to see Blue Skies recognize, hey, if we try and put our discs up too long and they get float underneath them, that's giving Exiles the time to make a play. So not only is that something that the handlers themselves need to recognize, that they're now looking for maybe shorter 5 to 10 meter passes to keep them low, to keep them fast. Do the downfielders recognize that? Are they going to be cutting for those throws? Are they going to be cutting with the intent to give that as an option to their handler to really try and take the pressure off that backfield? It's one of those things where when you have teams that appear to have a large skill discrepancy, when you tend to see teams that cycle a lot of their play through the same 2 or 3 people, one of the I guess perils of that is that it becomes a very handler-driven offense as opposed to a team-driven offense. So you might see this throughout the rest of the tournament. You might have some players where you have a really confident handler who maybe doesn't have, you know, a 60-meter throw, but they start in the downfield or in the midfield to open things up. So they'll make a really aggressive cut, knowing that they can get separation from their defender to make that throw easier, at which point they're the ones who are dictating the offense. But that would be my big question for the remainder of this half, is knowing that Exiles are coming up with those jump balls. Are Whakatu Ultimate, are Nelson Up, the Blue Skies, are they going to be making the necessary adjustments to take these next 2 points and walk away with the first half? Crane to receive, finding Hippolyte early as we see that match defense setting up. We're seeing that same vertical stack as we push to the far sideline, looking for Mercer, marked by Riley Bruce. Swings back to Emery Crane. Nice left backhand.
What a gainer. Oh, what a cut!
Fantastic work by Stepan Wenzel.
Multiple strike cuts, open side cuts here. He's opting for 3rd time's the charm.
Finds Edmonston, looks back to Hippolyte. Again, just doing a huge amount of work. Marked by Ray, goes through for Crane right on the doorstep. A quick snappy shot, overthrows.
Lefty backhand, and Crane is such a clean player there. You know, fully expecting that to happen. Also, Ari's a big fan. We've got Stern, Ari Stern. He's a big fan of those quick plays as well, and that was a connection. You know, they've drilled it. They've played so much together, but I think there, Crane just a little bit too eager with that quick release backhand, finding just missing Crane in the end zone. You hate to see it.
So we're going to see McAfee initiate, marked by Crane, tries to fire for the upline, looking for Lemon. Manages to send it, but I think they might have got a touch on that because that fades out wide towards the far sideline.
Cleaned up, but he looks like he wasn't in bounds. It was out of bounds. Great hand signals. Thank you from the Blue Skies. Yeah, so an interesting inside-out release that just came back.
Have to wonder whether or not Wenzel got contact on that one. Crane finds Stern in the upfield space. Hippolyte tries to cut under, pressured too tightly by Matthew Ray to get away with it, pushes towards the far sideline for Mercer.
And interestingly, before we were seeing a lot of swinging movement from Blue Skies. That's really dried up a little bit, and we're seeing more cuts, undercuts coming out of the stack, waiting for the deep option to open up. Crane definitely waiting for that. So we've got Hippolyte rather far back for the open side swing.
Threads through to Edmonston. Laser through, but it gets touched. That is going to be an Exiles turnover. Great work by them. An opportunity here to take back the lead for the first time since the first point of the game.
Their strong person defense is really coming through. I think that aside from we've seen some beautiful offensive plays from both teams, but that strong defense from Exiles is really what's bringing them back, and I think what's carrying them through right now.
Sutherland finding Vrach on a low shot. McAfee puts it up. Edmonston underneath it with the denial.
Great positioning there.
You cannot spell Edmonston without a big D.
You know, I saw he pulled up to the fields earlier, Blair, with a Cadillac, and you know what they say with Cadillacs.
What do they say with Cadillacs?
Say you gotta throw some D's on it. We've got Crane with the disc. Back on offense. Great initiating cut right off the bat.
Chase and Mercer both pushing into that deep space. It's coming in a little bit low, but Mercer's under it.
With the knee slide to add style points.
Oh, what a rock star. Little chop step by Chase. Can't get him open enough. He looks back. Stern's there as an option, but he's marked tied by Vrach. Finds Crane on a nice little floaty toe touch into the front corner on a nice short-range forehand.
I feel like Crane just picked up the energy at that point. He launched that backhand, that cross-field backhand, almost a full-field huck, and then just turned on the energy, just turned it up, cranked it up a notch, and yeah, really wanted that point.
A fantastic cycle there by Blue Skies. Some really, really nice work after that defensive pressure on display by Wenzel. That disc that pushed towards the far sideline, that was really the turning point for Blue Skies. That and Edmondson's huge pressure defense getting that touch on the left-hand side end zone. So potentially 1 point away from Blue Skies taking half as they come out on defense. We have Mincha with the disc, setting up to pull, joined by Loy, Pang, Dudley Bestow, Styles.
So, interestingly, on defense here, we've seen Blue Skies. I would like to see them match the pressure that we've seen Exiles putting out on match defense. It's only been match defense, which I think is a really good decision from both teams. There's a lot of depth and experience with throws. We've seen a diversity, a great eclectic mix of throws out on the field that I've really enjoyed for this first half. But we've also seen Blue Skies marking with a hard no around, hard no up line. I would like to see with those marks, maintaining the hard no around, stopping those crossfield backhands. I'd also like to see the no-up line recognized, though, because Exiles have also been capitalizing on that upline strike cut. So maintain the force and maintain the hard no around, and then also stop those upline cuts.
Particularly when we're looking at the combination of McAfee and Lemon, who are doing some great work in that handler space as well. And so that's actually what we're looking at right now. It was Lemon looking for McAfee. Goes back, tries to find Doak. It's Ray with the disc now. Good, and cutting out. We've got
separation there.
Lemon with another upline. Finding Cunningham. It's Ray now with the disc, right on the doorstep.
Exiles collapsing into the red zone.
Great work there by Gurdon for the score.
Frisbee.
And so we have ourselves a Galaxy point. It's one of those things, there's a saying in Ultimate, I'll explain what a Galaxy point is in just a moment. It's a saying in Ultimate, you should never lose a game without throwing down a zone. The thing is, though, is when the game is as tight as this one, we're looking at, 6-6, it's so tight that you have to question, are we going to get value out of changing the way we're playing defense? If a team comes down and decides to switch up to a zone, is that going to be the thing that gives up the point and lets the other team take half? So, just to clarify what we were talking about before, a Galaxy point. If our game is to 13, our halftime is taken when the first team reaches 7. So with both teams on 6, the next point is going to be the last point of the half, and either we have an offensive hold from Blue Skies or we'll have a turnover and a defensive conversion from the Exiles. So
I just want to reel that back also. So we've got Galaxy Point here, really exciting time, but Exiles and how they collapsed into that zone. So it was a little bit messy. People were struggling to get into the right space, but the way that point was scored, the cut from the front of the stack, just running to the open side, I'm not sure if there's anything more classic that you can see in Ultimate Frisbee. That is like the bread and butter of how to score points. It's called, a lot of people call it an ambulance. There's a name for an end zone play. It's just that cut from the front of the stack to the open side, and it was a great point for Exiles. McAfee launches the disc downfield, and we have Hippolyte Crane, the classic to the foundation of the Blue Skies offense, handling here. Crane assesses the field, and he's looking for options. The disc goes up.
Looking for Dudley Bestow, covered by McAfee. McAfee manages to get the box. Great attempt by Wenzel to cover ground and get underneath it, but it's not going to be enough. So that's exactly what Exiles needed.
It's a tough read in that deep space when the disc just faded down, but also I want to recognize that there weren't a lot of cuts happening. Crane was a little bit left out to dry. Bestow is really the only deep option there.
On that open side, the far sideline, manages to get it in hands for a fraction of a second.
Great defensive pressure from Blue Skies. Love to see that from Crane.
Crane with a big hammer fake, uses the forehand on the far sideline. It's going to be Mincha.
Ooh, a blade! Finding the open Dudley Bestow.
That disc was tilted like a poker player with an anger problem, but it managed to find Dudley Bestow to take half for Blue Skies as they go 7-6 up over the local team from Christchurch, the Exiles. This is the opening match of the first day of the Division 2 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. Our focus is on the Open and Women's Divisions this weekend. We will be back with ULTI.TV very, very shortly for you, but until then, my name is Blair Monroe.
I'm Kelsey Bielik.
And we will see you again very soon.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
One of those, like, you just get the rhythm stuff. I'm really sensitive to that because I can oh, right, yeah. I was about to get that. You want to do it with, like, I remember the first time I did that, you were having trouble with it. Oh, but that's good, because you don't want to have to play out. Yeah.
And what a fantastic first half we have had in the opening match of the 2024 New Zealand Ultimate Championships at Bob Dean's Field. My sincerest apologies for calling Bob Dean's Bruce earlier.
He's Bob.
He's Bob. When you have the privilege of being able to be on the sideline for so many tournaments, you hit a number of parks and really, you lose track of where you are unless the weather's as good as it is now. We have Exiles to come out on defense. So a great first half by Blue Skies, not only taking half, being up by 1, but they also start the second half on offense. So they get an opportunity to crack open a 2-point lead as we see Hippolyte and Crane.
What a breakthrough. Also, just to comment on that first half, really, this is what you want to see when you're coming to Nats. The hug downfield.
Looking for Mercer. Finds him.
Oh!
That is exactly what we're looking for. Is he doing the gritty? Not quite. Okay.
What a catch.
What a fantastic play there by Sam Mercer. We've seen some fantastic ground plays by him, some really nice bids, and that is just another feather in that man's cap. Is he going to call it macaroni? Only time will tell. We have widened open the score. It's Blue Skies up by 2 in this race to 13.
So one more time, we've got Crane with the disc, and I'm concerned we see that disc coming out. It's really low, but not an issue, and I love it when you say something and you see it happen on the field. I was talking about putting the disc into space and how Blue Skies has been excelling at that, at putting their bodies on the line, getting to that disc. Case in point right here as Mercer chases it down, and what a stylish catch. This man has been catching discs only with style today.
That disc was lower than the prospects of a 20-year-old owning a home one day, and he still managed to keep it off the turf.
Today's economy? Turns out dreams do come true. Look at what happened there. That wasn't a dream, though. But maybe it was. It was hard work, though. No luck included.
I can tell you that a play that good is something I'm definitely going to be dreaming about. But we're going to see Blue Skies come out on defense now. Some great players here, a lot of athleticism, but as you pointed out in the first half, Kelsey, Exiles have a lot of the height on the field at the moment. Are they going to use it to their advantage, or are we going to see players like Max Pong who just do some fantastic work, eating up the ground, losing that to cover that space?
There was a really strategic point. Obviously, all points are strategic here. Both teams are trying to score, but Blue Skies coming out, they're ahead in the first half, and then coming out in second, scoring that first point is really beneficial for them. They've got that momentum, and Exiles looking to match that right now.
Lemon to the far sideline for Cunningham. Tries to fake around, shifting around Joe Knight, not able to get anything open. There's McAfee, but it's a touch on the disc by Knight to generate the turn.
Strong mark there. Hard no rounds, really taking away the options. Great job on defense.
Manages to open things up. We're going to see Dudley Besto with the disc now, marked by Sturman. Swings around to Mincha. Great cross cut across the front of the disc there by Dudley Besto, but it's not going to be the option. Pushing deep. Who's got the read?
Ooh. And you have the calls that you make come true, like that last point we saw Blue Skies putting into space, but I was talking all about how Exiles were taking to the skies and tearing it down. Not the case here, as Blue Skies reels in that point.
That was Matthew Edmonds for the pull down for Blue Skies to bring it to a 3-point game. Just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it turns out if you spend most of your summer season really preparing, grinding together as a team, somehow ending up on the same team at a beach hat tournament, using that as, again, just opportunities to dial in that chemistry, to dial in those connections, and then bring that to a Division II event here in Christchurch, it certainly seems to be working out for them.
It certainly does. That's another point on the board. So that's 2 since half. Blue Skies starting to make a little bit of a lead for the first time in this tournament. I wonder what Exiles talked about at half. They came out firing. That's exactly the type of first half you want to see again at a Nats, trading point for point, neck and neck. But here, Blue Skies coming out a little bit ahead. I want to see Exiles here on offense. I want to see them fire. We've seen some beautiful movement between the teams, but I don't want to see Exiles lower that energy. If anything, I want to see them ramp it up. More of those beautiful cross-field backhands, beautiful strike cuts. What do they have to show us right now?
Cunningham with the disc. Puts a big shot up, but it's got a lot of edge. Can he get underneath it? Not quite. It's going to give the disc back to the Blue Skies. So
I wonder if that was a wet disc right there. As I mentioned, it came out bladey. It looked like it may have hooked on his hands. I don't think he wanted to put quite that much blade on it. But again, was it a little bit wet maybe coming out from that dew in the grass?
So we see Mincha when he picks up, checking the disc to make sure that it's still relatively flat and has, I guess, predictable flight patterns. We're seeing Dudley Besto on an undercut towards the near sideline. Finds Styles, who's working with Mincha as they push to use the width of the field a little bit more.
Pivoting around, he's looking for options. We need a bit more movement. Dudley Besto here cutting onto that hard cut. Pong looking for a repeat.
And Matthew Ray says not today.
Matthew Ray's been bringing such energy to this game. I've really enjoyed watching him play on defense. He's been doing such a good job shutting down handlers on offense here. Defense with the energy there. Now he's off to the races, looking for the strike, finding it with a beautiful inside-out throw. He looks deep. Opts for the safe swing.
Comes back around to Cunningham, hoping for redemption after that earlier turnover. Ray.
Look at this energy, Exiles. The stall is barely at 1 before they're finding those open options. They're playing such good offense, clean movement here.
Loy active on the mark, not going to be enough to stop Gurdon getting the 3rd point of the game for just himself alone. So he's in hat-trick territory now. And it's that same ambulance cut that you were describing before, that great just cut towards the front corner of the end zone. And exactly as you said, we've talked about how Exiles have had a lot of great success in this game already, just really attacking, aggressively playing that upline. We saw it with McAfee. We've seen it with Lemon. We've seen Gurdon score at least twice off that exact same cut. Blue Skies, they've only got a 2-point lead. It's a lot, but it's not enough to guarantee them the game. And the question is, are they going to be able to adapt? Are they going to recognize that on subsequent points when they turn over, if they turn over? When Exiles have the disc, are they going to be able to pressure that and stop that? Or is that going to be the key that Exiles use as they hope to walk away with a first win of the tournament?
We'll see. Also, though, just jumping off of what Blair was saying there with the cut to the open side, now in Ultimate Frisbee, in the end zones, we like to see oftentimes people scoring at the 4 cones, so with the 4 corners. Anytime if you're playing offense, if you're looking to score the points, you don't know where to go. Any of those 4 corners is a safe bet, a safe space to look to. So oftentimes we'll see points being scored in those areas. Keep that in mind. We'll look how Blue Skies are looking to score, a lot of times off of hucks and putting it to open space, but opting for the corners there. We've got Crane with the disc.
Just to clarify as well, that was a huge pull. A lot of hang time from Riley Bruce, who was also able to get down and shut down that first pass. We're starting to see that Blue Skies Ultimate really kick into gear now. It's going to be Mercer on the near sideline. We have Hippolyte and Crane in the backfield. It's Stern looking back to Hippolyte, who doesn't have to lay out for it this time, using those fakes to get the defense out of the way. Crane has that wide open backhand, but there's nothing developing in the downfield, so he's looking back to find Hippolyte instead. Big swing.
I would like to see this stat cleaned up a little bit. There haven't been any picks, but I want to see it a little bit cleaner. I want to see more movement coming out, a little better clearing. They're struggling to make options a little bit. We've got a no-look backhand there from Hippolyte.
It's one of those things, when we look at Hippolyte trying to swing around to that far sideline, I think that's just the sort of convention. He looks a little off balance. The disc always comes out relatively cleanly. Oh, great touch by Chase, but it is not going to be enough. Is momentum going to carry him out of bounds?
Yeah, giving Exiles another chance on offense. Nice movement. Again, really great pressure from Exiles. I want to see them maintain that when they're on defense. Here they've got another option on offense. Cuts right away out of the stack. McAfee looking for the wide swing open. Really great to see the teams working on those swings as well, using the width of the field, especially when there's no wind. In conditions like right now, how often are you playing Frisbee when there's no wind? The disc goes up. Nicely
thrown, but Cunningham not able to get underneath it. It's going to give the disc back to Blue Skies, hoping to crack double digits for the first time in the game. It's Crane supported by Hippolyte. We are seeing Bruce and McAfee as the defenders up the front. We're seeing that same vertical stack. So at the moment, I mean, considering that this is the first time we're seeing Blue Skies really sort of put in a full opens team here,
we see Crane looking for options. He puts his arms up. There's cuts happening, but there's still a little bit of stagnancy. I also noticed consistently with Blue Skies, a lot of the cuts are developing from really far back. The stack is really far back. We're seeing the successful cuts here with Ari Stern with the disc coming from the front of the stack. A lot of strike cuts, but people they're cutting from really far back. That's a deep cut that's developing from really far back. Crane showing that he has the arms to make it happen, though.
Finds Wenzel in the end zone for the score as Blue Skies go 10 over the Exiles 7.
And I'm giving Blue Skies a little bit of a hard time about their cutting here, but I also want to acknowledge that they have the throwers and the ability to still nonetheless make those connections. So a really great acknowledgement to the throwers, the creativity they're putting out there, as well as the receivers in making those catches. Blue Skies showing that while, you know, there's a few niggles maybe on the offensive plays that they're making, that they are still having absolutely no problem putting up those beautiful throws, making those beautiful catches, and still maintaining the lead.
Absolutely. So Blue Skies to come out on defense. We have Robert Stiles with the disc, supported by Pang, Dudley Besto, Loy, Knight, Mincha. Mincha with the pull, sorry. They always change hands when I'm not looking.
Always happens. The curse of the commentator. Hey, Blair.
That's the way.
Exiles coming out on offense. I want to see them pick up that energy. It's such a treat to watch them when they're making those that quick movement. It's really flowy offense. They're well drilled. They know each other well. They can find those options. I want to see that right now.
McAfee and Ray fielding the pull, working early, pushing towards far sideline. Nice turnaround by Lemon's going to get it. Bruce trying to push into the deep space. A wide open Sturman.
Great pressure from Dudley Besto, but not enough to make that defensive play. They're on the sideline looking for the open side. McAfee with the points. I love that.
Great. And again, it's as we've said, and this, I think, is one of the most important benefits of being a commentator. And Kelsey, you might be able to...
My apologies, that was Ray with the points.
Kelsey, you might have an opinion on this. The amount of ultimate that we tend to see, the biggest asset that you can have as a player is your ability to learn from what your opponents are doing. Hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit of this throughout the tournament, but we've already highlighted that those upline cuts that Exile's making are working incredibly well for them. That's how they're generating a lot of these scores. We haven't seen Blue Skies actually have an answer to it. Now, realistically, the very solution from Wish, or if you try and get your defense off the Temu app, would just be to have your defender stand flat in front of the person with the disc. Once they're within that sort of 10 meter of the end zone, that's going to be enough to discourage that upline throw. They've managed to score on 3 or 4 times now. But that's the question, is when you're really dialed into your own game, are you paying attention? Are you picking up those things? Are you communicating those to your teammates? Are you able to put that learning into place? And so far, we haven't seen Blue Skies able to do it. So far, they are winning this game on their offense more than they are their defense. So we're going to see a huge pull there by Riley Bruce. Again, a lot of float underneath that one. It's once again Hippolyte and Crane.
So just to comment on defense there as well, and one thing Exiles is trying to do right now, there's 2 ways in which a defense can fail, and these are the only 2 ways in which it ever will fail, which makes it really simple to fix. That is either the force. You're getting broken, so here we have Stern looking for break side throws, and he makes that break side throw, so there the mark was off, so the force is off, or you're getting beat to the open side. Right now, Exile's getting broken. So they can be focusing on that. Let's not get broken. Let's keep the strong mark. Really a challenge when you've got throwers like Hippolyte and Crane back there, though, who have all the options on the field.
We're seeing Mercer just pick apart that midfield for Blue Skies. I mean, we've talked a lot about the skill of the handlers on this Blue Skies side, but really, I think if they had to pick a man of the match, number 55, Sam Mercer, is probably going to be up there.
He's such a glue guy for the team.
Absolutely. He's just anchoring a lot of the downfield defense. Yes, we're seeing Hippolyte, we're seeing Crane, we're seeing Dudley Besto do a huge amount of work in moving the disc and distributing, but Mercer finding those openings and really giving the options there. We're going to see Crane now with the disc marked tightly. Again, was that a borderline Wolfenhauser for the score?
I'm proved wrong. I said that may be the only time we see that throw. I spoke way too soon. When you have the same player on the field, I was naive to assume we wouldn't see it again.
Somebody tell me we're going to get to see that again. My godfather. So just to clarify, a Wolfenhauser is essentially a no-look scuba thrown behind you. So there's a whole bunch of massive players. See, we're going to see here again.
He's not even looking. The stall was high. I do want to recognize that as well. Crane threw that once before, but also it's not the throw you generally put up at stall 1, but also he was looking for options there. Crane knew that there wasn't a lot happening, and a really intelligent decision to throw to the break side. You know that the defense is on the open side. They're trying to shut that down, so if you can get it to the break side of the field, it's more likely to result in a point.
And I think as well, considering that those upside-down throws, hammers, scubas, and the like, they tend to arc, and what that means is they get a lot of float underneath them. If you can float something like that out to the break side, trust your downfielders like Mercer, like Wenzel, to be able to get underneath it. As Kelsey said, if it's on that break side, the defense is behind you. So it gives you a little bit of time to get underneath the disc that you're not expecting. So great work there by Crane. Perhaps a questionable decision. The kind of throw you would only put up if you're a couple points ahead or 8 points down. But either way, we're seeing Exiles on offense now. It's McAfee. He's looking for Bruce. Manages to find him, marked by Joe Knight. Swings back, cuts through, finds Hargraves. I think Hargraves' first touch on the disc, certainly in my experience of this match so far. McAfee puts
Ball
a
pass.
wobbly one through to
Separation
Hargraves.
there. I would have liked to have seen that deep look. Exiles with the disc making those safe decisions right now, waiting for the open options. Oh, great swing.
Nice
Good
work.
recognition from the front of the stack. Again, textbook ultimate Exiles is playing here.
Bruce gets a little frustrated, looks back for McAfee, can't get open for the return pass.
I love the patience that they have here. They're in the end zone. They know that one more throw could result in points. They're waiting for the right options. McAfee with the separation and reeling it in for the point. The strike cut once again.
A lot of float underneath that disc by Sutherland towards the end zone. But again, as you say, we recognize, and hopefully Exiles have recognized as well, that a lot of the imbalance in their favor is going to be related to things like height. And so trusting, hey, we can put up that shot. We know that we have that height advantage. We can leverage that. So it's important to recognize that if Exiles were in the same position, they put up that same throw, it might not have come down the same way. So it's good to recognize that teams at this level are still able to identify what their immediate strengths are, how can we leverage them, how can we use them to put points on the board and keep this game as competitive as possible. So we're back to a 2-point game. The score is 11-9. Blue Skies 2 points away from their first victory in the 2024 Division 2 New Zealand Ultimate Championships in ULTI.TV, Christchurch.
And I do want to comment also on that point there. As I was mentioning before with defense, there's two ways in which defense is broken down. That is either the mark gets broken, that is the thrower manages to put the disc to the break side of the field, or downfield defense can't mark on the open side. The offensive players are making it to the open side, making those easy throws, easy for the handlers, and Exiles are really punishing the open side here. That shows that the downfield defense, the marks are being really consistent on the end zone line. The Exiles are, the Blue Skies are marking on the end zone line, but Exiles are still, with those strike cuts, they're still making it to the open side, which is something that Blue Skies need to recognize if they want to stop those points. We have Blue Skies on offense now, though. Hippolyte with the disc.
That exact same core, Hippolyte and Crane. Mercer with a great undercut marked by Lemons, not going to be an option. Looks for Crane as the defense slowly looks to pinch things in.
What a gainer. We saw that deep cut coming to the break side and coming under for that gainer. Great cut.
Chase putting one through to Stern.
Stern with a low throw. Not an issue for a good team. The disc goes up. What speed! Crane launching deep from the handler space. You love to see those handler deep connections on the handler. They recognize where they are. They recognize the deep option. And Crane seeing that he can, not assist a point. He wants to put one on the board and get that stat.
Just fantastic. And I think great awareness as well, because I think Sam Mercer was underneath that. But maybe recognized that the disc wasn't coming to him, had the awareness that somebody else was actually aggressively pushing through to where the disc was going to end up. So, and I think that's an important thing too, because, and you'll probably know this as well, Kelsey, with your extensive pedigree playing for New Zealand on both the national and international level, one of the worst things you can do as a downfielder, and it's one of those things that keeps you up at night, is making a play for a disc that was maybe 50-50 for you, but was 100% for the person just further downfield that you didn't see. You see a disc go up and you think, great, cool, oh, that was a bad throw, but it's too me. You go up and you aren't able to grab it. You maybe get a fingertip to it, and it puts enough wobble in it that it creates a turnover as opposed to finding the hands of the intended receiver.
They do say, if you can catch a disc, catch it. Whether that's on defense, catch your Ds, of course, but also on offense. If you're not the intended player, but you can catch it, you should make that catch. But if you can't, maybe there's another person it's going to.
So this is potentially the last point of the game. It really depends on what kind of defense they are going to be able to play. A little bit of pressure on that throw. Lemon goes to ground, but he can't pick it up. This could be it for Blue Skies. It's Dudley Besto.
Swinging to center the disc.
Finds Knight. Pong trying to help out in the handle space. Gets looked off. Trying to push him deep. It's Marcus Lovell. Another lefty. Trying to put the spin on.
Again, Dudley Besto looking for the break. Looked off. Great mark there.
Knight is pressured. It goes back to Lovell.
Strong defense right now as they're pushing to the open side. Dudley Besto puts the pressure on with defense. Stops that under.
And so the disc is going to go back to Exiles. It's going to be Ray to pick up, supported by Cunningham.
Centered with Cunningham. We've got a beautiful undercut.
We're seeing a repeat of that same position as last time. It's going to be Lemon to initiate, really. Looking for Sturman near sideline. We're going to see another upline cut. There it is. right to Lemon. Whakatu ultimate. Blue Skies not really doing anything to shut that down just yet.
This goes up. What?
Great touchdown there.
I love that throw, that outside in. He puts the angle on it, the blade to curve it. You know, it goes out of bounds and comes back in, but also snakes around the handler to make it such a safe option. Well executed, great catch.
Great put there by Sturman to Ray. And again, it's that same thing. It's allowing Exiles to have such unimpeded access to that open side. That's where Blue Skies are giving up the points, and I guess, you know, they're a couple of points ahead. They recognize, hey, we can let up one defensive point, and that's okay, because we're going to get this back on offense. We know how to hold on offense, but Exiles want this too. We're seeing a player leave the field, carried off by a couple of other players.
That's not good to see. You know, we might suspect cramp, but so early in the tournament, it's not great to see. Maybe a sprained ankle. Hopefully something that player can just shake off. One more time, though, with that outside in, snaking just around the defense, coming in at an angle.
Yeah, so what happened there is Loy jumping up to try and make a play on the disc, came down a little bit unsteady on that ankle and took a tumble. So hopefully we'll get to see him later on in the tournament. We will probably do a little bit of an injury check for your benefit watching at home, and hopefully we'll be able to bring you some good news in the next game. But for now, it's about the 14 players on the field. We have, once again, Bruce for the Exiles with the disc.
Also a reminder for those of you at home, make sure to stay hydrated. While people might get injured out here, take care of yourself as well. Stay hydrated, do what you need to do. It's a close game. We've got a whole tournament ahead of us.
And it looks like that's going to fade away towards the far sideline, so we see the hand signal from Emery Crane to signify a brick. He'll bring that disc to about halfway in the field, 18 meters in front of his defensive end zone. So there's no positional advantage conferred to the defense by intentionally throwing the disc out of bounds, which I think is a great addition to the team, or rather to the codification of the rules. Supported again by Hippolyte.
And as Blair is saying, it's a really convenient, it's a strategic place to take the disc from the middle of the field. You have the whole width of the field to work with, as they show here. Great undercut, nice continuation movement. Launching it deep, it's a laser coming in that had so much power on it.
Mincha for Wenzel can't find that connection. Stepan with a great cut into that deep space, but just
power on that throw. I think it would have been a great throw in windy conditions. You would have seen it coming exactly the same, but when it's calm like this, it made it a harder catch to reel in.
There was a lot of heat on that one.
Yeah.
And so Exiles now 2 points behind. Crossfield shot, finds Lemon again on that initiating undercut, marked by Mercer, manages to put one across, finds Sturman, marked by Stern, to Bruce, far sideline, marked by Mincha, looking back, Sturman shut down by a great defensive coverage by Stern. Nice upline by McAfee, managing to get past Emery Crane, but his momentum carries him out of bounds. He's going to bring it back to the far sideline, pushing through, intercepted immediately by Mercer.
Great vision there, Mercer, just seeing where the disc was going to go and just making it look like it was meant for him. Hippolyte with the disc, faking the open side and then releasing it, but at the same time, it's too high.
Swatted down by Matthew Ray.
It takes like a cat, he says, not today.
So marked by Wenzel, but he manages to get around Lemon again. Unimpeded on that undercut. Hippolyte out of position. We find Hall chipping back to Lemon. Very close to the end zone. That managing to shut up that upline, but it's going to be Vrach managing to score that one. Ungood Vrach. Great point there to bring it back within one for Exiles.
With a little bit of an air bounce on the throw there. It may be necessary to get around the long arms to make it a break. So we've seen some really strong defense. I know Stearns had been throwing on a really strong mark. We see him right there. He's been doing so well on the mark, stopping arounds, stopping those insides. But there, with just a slight just lack of attention, maybe just lack of awareness, and the break goes up.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing to see Exiles score off that, because what that signifies to me is that Blue Skies have recognized that at the moment they were giving up a lot of points by allowing that open side strike cut, and so they weren't able to make that connection this time, which tells me that there has been at least a slight defensive adjustment, or at least some conversation about that.
That's a really good point.
It does, unfortunately, open up the middle of the field for them, especially if you've got a confident thrower, one who can get low and put a little bit of float underneath it to curve it back into the hands of a receiver like Vrach. But that's the key thing, is that they're learning, they're watching, they're adapting. It is now a 1-point game, and it's 12-11.
How exciting. And this is strategically... It's so exciting. I mean, it's exciting to watch and spectate, but right now both teams are taking a timeout. And looking over at Exiles right now, we can see them there. They have 2 points under their belt. This is when you're making a comeback. This is when you want to make it, you know? When you're 2 points ahead, also mentally you're strong. You're in your space, you know? You want to keep that momentum going. Sometimes a timeout can stop that. It can slow that down. A really strategic move potentially from Blue Skies, trying to just drive a wedge in that momentum, slow that down. They know that they could take the game. It's game to 13, so they've just ceded 2 points. You know, they just need to put one strong offensive line, make it happen, and cinch the game for themselves. So just a brief insight into what these teams might be thinking about. Thoughts, Blair?
Yeah, I mean, when there's only 1 point in a game to 13, nothing other than perfection is going to allow Exiles to walk away with this.
But perfection.
I mean, really, what they have to generate two turnovers on defense and convert both of them if they want to walk away with the game. It's like the IRA once famously said to Margaret Thatcher, you have to get lucky every time. We only have to get lucky once. That's kind of the attitude that Blue Skies better be bringing in as Blair Munro goes full goblin mode here in the commentary booth. Blue Skies to come out on offense. We're going to see that 7 power line. We once again see Joe Knight, Emery Crane, Jesse Chase, Mincha, Mercer, Wenzel, and Dudley Bestow. Some really confident players that we've seen with some fantastic connections, particularly riding the high off their recent victory, and I think also a second place appearance at Flat Out in Nelson.
And while the sun is rising up, we've got a bit more shade in the tent, and Blair's turning into a goblin. More Blue Skies out for Blue Skies over here. This is Nelson in their prime. You know, they're playing in this beautiful weather. Meanwhile, ULTI.TV Christchurch Exiles looking to score more points and win this game for themselves on their home turf.
Crane to receive right in the front corner of his defensive end zone, finds Mincha. Just a little bit of defensive work backwards and forwards, continuing to work that far sideline. It's Dudley Bestow.
Finding Mercer. Ooh.
Great touch by Lemon, and it looks clean. This could be what Exiles need.
That is classic. That is the way we're seeing Exiles making these Ds. A classic offense. We're seeing the great flow. Dudley Bestow, making those movements downfield, but Exiles now on offense.
Sean Lemon trying not to make the first initiating cut to the open side challenge, level impossible. As he's firing everything up, it's Sutherland now. Puts one.
Classic defense as well. We've seen this. We've seen Blue Skies knowing exactly where the disc is going to go and being in that space. The disc goes up!
Crane looking for Dudley Bestow. Outside the end zone. Cunningham in hot pursuit trying to shut down Wenzel, but there's 2 options. Looks for Wenzel, finds him for the score and the game.
And I love that Dudley Bestow showing. We saw it in the first half especially. He was assisting those points with those forehands. Here again, he shows his depth, as I mentioned before, a multi-tool on the field. He can receive, he can throw, assisting that point. Blue Skies with the game.
What a fantastic finish for the first match of the 2024 Division 2 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. This match here between Blue Skies from Nelson and Exiles from Christchurch. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
I'm Kelsey Bielik, and Blair, I'm stoked to be here with you. I'm stoked to have watched both these teams put this out here. I'm stoked to be here with ULTI.TV. If you want to continue to support streaming services, support what ULTI.TV is doing, chuck some change their way. Head to their Patreon and chuck a few spare change their way if you have any. It's just in the back pocket. Thank you for joining us, though, for this first game.
And we will be back again with you for another very exciting match very, very soon.
ULTI.TV